Most of you probably recognize this symbol as the yin-yang symbol from Chinese medicine and Chinese thought. And the symbol has so much depth and significance. The symbol is one half of what this conference is named after, and the other half, fire, represents the yang. And you can go ahead and just turn that off. Yeah. So if you look at this, those of you that are familiar with this, you can see the bright side, the white. This is the yang. It's known as the masculine. It's known as the kinetic energy. This is such a powerful force. It's associated with fire. It's associated with daytime. It's associated with the known. And then you can see, of course, that we have a little bit of the darkness within that light, that's always there, that yin energy is always present in the yang. And then conversely, looking at the yin, the dark side, that this is a powerful energy in its own right, that this is associated with the moon, with water, with flow, with the mysterious, with the forming, the unknown. Also, such a powerful element, but it can never exist without a little bit of the yang within it. And these forces represent balance, duality. They represent this cosmic dance that's always happening and always searching for balance. One cannot exist without the other. So in Ted Kaptchuk's incredible book, The Web That Has No Weaver, have any of you read that? Okay, it's amazing. My son's read it. So in this book, he talks about some different concepts that are involved in yin and yang. And the first one is relativity. So if you said to someone, if we're speaking about like the human realm, because this is present in everything, the entire world. But if you're speaking to a human, you're like, oh, you're very feminine, you're super feminine. Compared to what? Compared to whom? So it's all relative. So if we have cold water, that is very yin compared to hot water. But cold water could be seen as very yang when compared to ice. And so as we look at that in ourselves, it's all relative depending on what we're comparing it to. The next concept is not coming up. Oh, they're all coming up. Interdependence. The next concept is interdependence. So yin and yang are dependent on each other. One cannot exist without the other. It just isn't even possible for that to happen. So I think a lot of times in our sort of quest to be intelligent or to even create new things, which is all beautiful, those are all great things, but sometimes we forget these very basic things like the sperm and the egg, or that just like the basic that we cannot exist without each other, and that it happens in this very like obvious direct way, and then it also happens in these like esoteric realms, that we cannot exist without the other. That the depiction of yin yang in Chinese medicine, the original depiction is of a mountain and the shady side and the dark side, the shaded side, and then the light, bright side. And one cannot exist without the other. We have to have both. The next concept is mutual consumption. So yin and yang are always balancing each other. It's always for our highest good. There's always, again, this cosmic dance going on between yin and yang. That when yang peaks, you see a little bit of yin come in and start to then expand and grow. It is law. And conversely, with yin, when it's at its peak and the strongest, you'll see yang come back in and balance this out, balance this duality. Nature's so smart, all these checks and balances. And then within this Tai Chi symbol, the yin-yang symbol, we also have something called intertransformation. And this means that when we go to the extremes, it's pretty hard to tell what's yin and what's yang, because at the extremes, they look very much the same. They actually become each other. So if something gets so cold that it burns you, it becomes yang. If you start producing too much testosterone in your body, it actually starts converting to estrogen. And the saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely, well, so does a lack of power. It also corrupts absolutely. that these things, they transform into the other, their extremes. And the final concept in this, there are actually more, because you could go into, just like yin and yang, infinitely divisible, we could get into more and more and more details instead of just looking at the big picture. But this idea that neither yin or yang can be isolated, there's nothing that's purely yin or purely yang. That because of the way that it creates yang, if there's too much yin, the way that it creates yin, if there's too much yang, you just see that this can never be isolated. If you move to an area, so if you move to an area that's extremely one thing, you know, extremely religious, extremely liberal, extremely whatever, then you will find there will be these countercultures that will start to develop, and they develop in these really interesting ways. That this concept of yin and yang is in everything. It's in us, and it's all throughout the world. So there's a really great concept, one of my favorite in Chinese medicine. It's called the yin will and the yang will. And the yang will is what you think you want to do. It's what you profess to everyone. It's what you say out loud. And this manifests, and you don't know. It presents the same initially. You're not going to actually know if it has a deeper force at work, or if you've just given yourself like a yang brain reward and nothing's going to happen from it, right? So the yang will is what you profess you want to do. And then the yin will, you can only know the yin will looking back over time and looking at what's occurred, how you responded to each moment, what you did, and it reveals to you over time what your yin will is. It's said to be the stronger will. And you see it because it is. This is how we can have this cognitive dissonance and believe that we want one thing and then at the same time be doing another, because our yin will and our yang will are not in alignment. So getting these two in alignment, balancing this dance within yourself, is imperative for achieving what you want to in this life, whatever the F you want to achieve, because it really doesn't matter. This is just the cosmic dance we're playing with, and one thing's not greater than the other, but this idea of finding this balance, it really is where it's at. So when we come into this earth, we all have this potential that manifests within us. And this yin and yang, they're things that we can play with. They're things that we can have fun with. They're things that we can allow, these energies allow us to show love, they allow us to show respect, and you start learning. I mean, I'm middle-aged now, and it's been such an amazing journey, just like your journey is an amazing journey that you're going through too. And balancing these yin and yang energies within myself and the wars that we have within ourselves that then manifest on the outside of us, it's such a profound experience and such a gift that we all get to have this. So we have this within ourselves, and we have this going on throughout the world. So there's a story told throughout the Himalayas that when the world came into being, oh, I'm going the wrong way, back. That when the world came into being, that fire and water had an argument. And water, she was pretty new in this form, and she noticed, you know, I think that I'm the most powerful element. She said, I nourish all of life. Nothing could grow without me. I think I'm actually responsible for all of creation. She said, I hold life's mysteries in my depths. All potential comes from me. I provide safe passage for travelers, and I nourish all of the great medicines that heal everything that's living. I provide a playground for all of life, and I provide a way for life to be renewed and for it to cleanse itself. And I've got a secret. I can take down any structure simply by wearing away at its foundation. It doesn't even know it's going on. And then suddenly it crumbles to the ground. That's how great I am. And I can expand as big as I want, and I can contract. And fire heard this. And honestly, he was kind of impressed, but he wanted to impress water too. So he said, no. I am the most powerful element. I can consume anything, just like winter. That's our dog. I'm responsible for that. Like, I can consume anything. All of life stands in awe and respect and fear of my greatness. I can create rivers of fire that wreak havoc and actually destroy anything that you create, water. But I can also warm the heart and the hands, and I can heal all of life. And from my ashes comes inspiration and renewed life and power. And I light the way for travelers. And I inspire all of humanity. When Water heard this, she kind of thought it was cute. But she also had not developed respect. And so she laughed, which made Fire angry. And when Water saw this anger, it evoked her own anger inside her. And she began to chase Fire with all of her power, and she chased him across the land. And Fire began to run, and he ran and ran and ran, and in his path was destruction. And this angered Water even more. And Fire made a bee-way for the highest mountain he could find in the Himalayas. And he started to climb the mountain believing that Water could not follow him. But Water made an appeal to Father Sky. And she asked him, I'm your daughter, please, Father, help me, help me. I really need to put Fire in his place. And Father Sky took pity on her. He was honestly a little impressed with his daughter's persistence. And so he put her in the clouds so that she could come down as rain and continue her pursuit. Well, when Fire saw her close behind, he made a plea to Mother Earth. Please, Mother Earth, please, can you protect me? Water is going to drown me out. Water's going to blot me off the earth. She's going to destroy me. Please, Mother, help me. And Mother Earth said, of course, you're already protected. There's no way water can destroy you. I put you in the minerals and the rocks and in the metals as flint and steel. And Father Sky has put you in the heavens as lightning. You can never be destroyed, but neither can water. Father Sky has put her in the clouds, and she comes down as rain. And I have protected her both above and below the earth. I've protected you. We've protected you in one body, and you can never be destroyed. And by attacking the other, this is just a projection, because this is a projection of a war that you have within yourself. And only by resolving this within yourself and balancing this within yourself can you have peace with the other. And when you balance these elements in yourself, you create peace and freedom within yourself, and you create peace and freedom within the world. We forget so easily the most obvious things, that we came from this earth, that we're sustained by this earth. This 49-year-old body that I have is only here because of the food that I ate, because of the earth that has sustained me, because of the air that I breathe, all these amazing things. And it's so obvious, so obvious. And when we die, which is not that far away for any of us, we go back to the earth. And we are literally a microcosm of the earth, in a metaphorical sense, but also in an absolute literal sense. So, hi, I'm a person, I'm alive with you, and when I was 18, when I was young, I got married, and I projected so much onto my spouse. And I had all these ideas. He suffered deeply from depression. He was also a brilliant, brilliant man, and he didn't like his job as an attorney. And so I said things like, we both love history, and we both love educational travel. You should lead study abroad trips. And you would be incredible, and I will support you. And in fact, I'll arrange the whole thing. In fact, I'll even just stand up and you can say these things, And also, you don't like your job and you're sad. Let's get a new business for you. Let's have you start a business. You will love being in business. You will love this, and I'll help you. I love supporting people, and I still do, And on, all these ideas I had for him, all these things. And his depression didn't go away. And no matter what I fed the man, he still had heart problems. And when it just continued on, and it wasn't something that I could fix because I was looking in the wrong place, right? Then we eventually got divorced. And I thought, what do I do now? So I started this all up again. Okay, I'm gonna write down everything that I want in my ideal partner. I've got it. This is the answer. This is what I'm gonna do. And I wrote down, okay, he's gonna have integrity. Yes. Oh, I feel it. Yes, he is. He's gonna be good at business. He will love business because I love business. He's gonna love it. And he will be strong. He won't be afraid of anything. He will really see people. This is an amazing man. And I went on and on with these things that I wanted from my partner. And then I sat down and I thought about them. And I felt them. And I did some dating. I experienced unrequited love. Have you guys ever experienced that? I'm into you, you're not into me, you're into me, I'm not into you. This is super painful both ways. And so eventually, one day, I went for this bike ride, and I felt inside myself this strong feeling of, you know what? I think I'm gonna just give this advice to myself. And actually, I'm gonna give this love to myself. Amen, sister. Yes, thank you. And so I did, and I felt it, and I've honestly never been lonely one day in my life since. And I felt the sense of freedom. And so I started some businesses based on my passion. Zion Massage College 13 years ago, Nomad Yurts, a glamping resort where I get to play with my creativity. It's all play, it's great. And it's also freaking hard, and you almost lose things many times, but then there is this balance, and you trust it, and you are fine no matter what. And the Ashi Bar Spa, where we offer treatments from all around the world, and it's amazing because I've gotten to travel there, and the therapists are amazing, and the people I work with are amazing. I love you guys. And need to adjust to business. I just started with a chiropractor, and I traveled all around the world and still do, and lead study abroad trips. Some of you have been on them, and I love you. I've gotten to know you. And I practiced the things I love, meditation. And I had a story. There was a story at one point, just to give you a sample of all the freaking stories that I created that maybe you can relate to, because maybe you've, as a human, done some of this too. So one of my stories was that there was a boys' club. So you can do this in the realm of masculine or feminine. It's poison, and it's good to recognize it, you know? So here's the story. There's a boys' club, if you guys don't know, and they withhold information from women, and they won't share with us. And then maybe if you date them, they might share some of it, but they also might not. And they might destroy your stuff. I think there was even like a Barbie movie about it recently to play us against each other a little more, you know? And so this story was toxic. And then I began, and I held it in my heart, and I played it out, and I saw I created evidence of it. And then I started reading all these different books and realized both my brothers and my sisters were sharing with me. And I read in one book a quote from Richard Branson that said, "I learned business by doing business." And so I was like, right on, brother. And I began learning business by doing business. And you know what? It works. You respond to the next thing. You do your best, you grow, you continue to expand. And it absolutely works as law. And that was empowering. And so I encourage all of you to play with this yin and yang inside yourself. Here's a few ways to access your inner yin energy. So I can't go through any of them because I'm at the end of my time, but meditation, rest, for all of us, allowing ourselves this. Noticing heightened emotions and relaxing into the sensation of them. Just feeling them and doing nothing, letting them pass through you. Gentle yoga and qigong. Asking Mother Nature for guidance. If you feel like you can't tap in to this wisdom within yourself, there's an activity I do with my students. You can pick anything, a rock, a flower, a bag of tea, whatever, and tell it your problem, and ask it for some advice, and wait, and see what comes to you. And notice the wisdom that every single person has and that you have inside yourself. We can all channel this energy. And then spending time near water, and of course, practicing love, self-love and love for others, supporting others. And then a few ways to access your inner yang energy. So physical exercise, so important for all of us. Warrior vocalizing, that yelling and finding your voice. I heard that there were some workshops. I heard people yelling and experiencing that. That was great. Okay, challenging your fears, being afraid, shaking and stepping up, and just being there until you are no longer afraid because you feel whole in yourself. That fear goes away when we start to see this common thread and this common human experience, and when we're able to actually see each other because we are whole and we can see ourselves. It's a game changer. Jealousy goes away. You understand what game you're actually playing here. It's freaking empowering. Utilizing the transformational power of fire. You'll get opportunities to do that here as well. And then practicing respect, even for your ego, that needs to be heard, but being able to see it for what it is. And then we can have peace on our earth and freedom that we want. We all want that. And we can have balance because we have this peace and this freedom and this balance within ourselves.